Hi guys, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and on this channel I'm attempting to cash budget my way out of debt and fix several years of financial misbehaviour. And if that's something you're interested in following along with, please don't forget to stick around and check out the other content on this channel. Now, Mr. Bowie is joining us for however long he feels like. He is currently hassling for extra breakfast. He's already had his breakfast, his very expensive dietary breakfast. He wants more, so at least he's taking to it well. But this is a Budgetmas video. Now, Budgetmas is a series of daily videos that I will try to get done throughout Christmas. And I say try to because I have 2.5 weeks with multiple deadlines and the last 2.5 weeks of the school term and lots to be getting on with. So while I have batch recorded to a certain extent, it's also, just... I'll attempt to try and release something daily. I did it for most of December last year as well. And I won't ever say this is day 1 or this is day 3 because I may choose to change the upload order. Okay, bye cat. Okay, he's gone. He is much healthier than he was. He is acting like there's nothing wrong, and touch wood, he seems to be taking to his meds and to his medication relatively well. And yes, fingers crossed there will be no more reoccurrences. But on today's video, I wanted to talk about going through and completely restructuring and rechanging your budget. Either because you want to, because you need to, or because life circumstances have kind of pushed you to, which is where I find myself. Now, I am... my lungs hate me. It's gotten very cold, so I'm going to be coughing all the way through this, so I am sorry. Like so. But yeah, as budgeters, we'll often find ourselves in the position where we need to make a change. And it may be something that we've been resisting for quite a while, or it may be something that actually we realise and go, do you know what, this method, this thing, this cost of this thing just isn't working for me. Let's do a change. And quite often doing so keeps your budgets interesting. It can keep it quite exciting and quite fresh, particularly if you need the excitement of doing a budget to help you manage your money. And some people do. Now, this was a position I found myself in partly because of Cat that's just left. That's because his meds are going to come in about £128 a month, and this is what I have to outlay before I can then see if I can claim it on the insurance. His food has massively gone up as well, and his lifestyle is going to change, and that's because he's now an unwell, albeit alive and happy animal. And that is something that, you know, as a pet owner who doesn't have children, at the end of the day, if I had a child and these things came up, it would be incorporated into my budget. He is not my child. I do quote unquote laugh and say I am a cat mum, but he's what I have to look after and care for, and that's the responsibility I took on when I went ahead and, you know, he walked into my kitchen as a little stray cat, and I kind of fell in love with him and went, yeah, I am gonna commit to this. So that is a budgetary thing now. And there's been a couple of things that have happened. Okay. So let's just kind of deal with that before I then take you through this. So the insurance claims are all now with the insurance, and they're all kind of going through, and that's not I can't see that being settled before Christmas. It's a 2 to 6 week process. So that is ticking through and waiting. I've had a 5-week budget month in November that has turned into a 6-week budget month because all of the trainees are being paid 5 days late for reasons I can't really say. We're all getting paid late. It's entirely unacceptable, and we have all made our feelings known, but in terms of like so many levels of shenanigans above us, trying to tiptoe around it, quite obviously there is nothing I can do. So finding out on Wednesday of this week that I'm not getting paid until the 6th basically turned a 5-week budget into a 6-week budget with a ton of bills that were going to bounce basically on Friday and Monday. So mum and dad have stepped in to cover those bills, and then on Wednesday, whatever they have given me, I will give them straight back. So I've essentially borrowed against my own income for the sake of 2 days, so that I don't incur things like late charges, bouncing fees, and all my bills and direct debits can go out as normal. And that is because finding out 2 days before some of them were due to be taken meant that actually they were already in the calling process, and I didn't want to have to go through and ring and try and cancel them and rearrange them, because I didn't have the time to do that either, and I didn't want to get any late charges. So whatever bills I have got going out for today, Friday, and Monday, the 4th of December, mum and dad have transferred the money over for, just to cover those bills, and then I will transfer that back. So that's what's going on there. So let's get that little bit of admin out of the way before I then take you through to actually how do you go through and restructure a budget and completely change it. Now, some of us like a list, okay? And yes, this writing's really pale. It's written in pencil. I am sorry. This is me playing with ideas. Don't worry so much about what you can see. This is not a finalised budget. This is an unused sheet from my budget planner that I've pulled out of my ring binder. And what the first thing you can do is you can go through and actually list down all of your bills, all of your fixed expenses, and then you can go through and list out what I call flexible expenses, but it can also be your cash envelopes, your sinking funds, which are completely different, and then your debt payments as a whole, including any snowballs or any extra debt payments you think you're going to make. However, I am someone personally who then looks at all of this and then goes, but I need to see where it is in the month, like what's going on, where is my cash flow heaviest, when do I have the most amount of non-bills going out. So when am I going to do top the car up, when am I going to order a month's worth of cat food, when am I going to do a big shop, do I need to buy anything else for Christmas, those of you that are parents, have you got to pay out anything for like a costume for the kids' school play, are there any school trips that you've been asked to make voluntary contributions for, have you done your Christmas shopping, when's the Christmas work due, when's your partner's work due that you've been invited along for, when are you going to have to pay for a babysitter or a cat sitter or a dog sitter, when are you driving to see family because you're staying with them, when are you going to buy your frozen stuff for Christmas, your cupboard stuff for Christmas, and your fresh stuff for Christmas if you've not already. All of those things, for some of us, it's actually really good to just grid them out and see, okay, right, this is what's going on. So some of us like a list. There's nothing wrong with a list. Go ahead and write a list. And I want to emphasize this as well. You do not need to have binders and planners and things like that. I created my own on Canva. I paid for a monthly subscription for a month, so it was $10.99. I then ran everything off my own printer. I hole punched it all, and is the printing the best thing in the world? No. And I put it in a ring binder that I had that would not have been my first choice ring binder, but it's done me really, really well as a flexible live working document. Equally, a spiral bound notepad or a little bit of scrap paper will work equally as fine. Like when you are reworking your budget, it's going to be really tempting, and I say this as someone who has done this in the past, to go out and buy all of the challenges and all of the trackers and all of the budget binders. If eventually you want to get to that point and that's what you want to spend your money on, fine. But for the really early stages, don't do that, because you may be going through this process of trying to establish what's important, what's getting paid when, and what's going on multiple times. So leave that, I'm not saying don't purchase, because there are plenty of like small sellers and things out there that just do need your support and do produce fantastic projects, and I own these, but what I'm saying in this really early first stage, don't immediately rush and buy the things which you think are going to make you feel better. Sometimes just getting like a bit of A4 or A3 paper and a pencil and a pen and a ruler will work wonders for you. And then actually, Bowie, no, that's my neighbour scraping off his car. Sorry, I thought it was the cat. And then you can go through and actually get the trackers and the things that you really like if that's what you want to spend your money on. So this is the list method, going and breaking everything down into subcategories and listing it all out. Point 1. Point 2, which is where I kind of sit, and to be fair, I float between a list and a grid. It depends what's going on, is getting, I love it having A3 paper back in my life. It's so good working in a school sometimes. Quick sip of coffee. Now, I should preface this by saying, and this is why I gave you the caveat of this is what's been going on in the budgeting world. In my budgeting world, I prepped this and did this before I found out we were getting paid late. And I only found out we were getting paid late is because a few of us went, we've not had the BACS remittance form come through for our payment yet. That's interesting. I wonder if there's an issue. Let's email. And yes, there's an issue that I weren't going to tell anyone about. Cheeky. So this was done prior to that going on. So let's have a look. What I've done is I have gone through and I have looked at when I thought my wages were going in. So this would have been Friday. You can start your month off at any time. If you are strictly I need a Monday to Friday, a Monday to Sunday month, Saturday to Saturday, whatever it is. For me, I need to know between paydays exactly how many weeks there are, which is why I started mine on a Friday. So I didn't have to blank it out and then be like, okay, that's there. This is the start of my budgeting month. It's actually now officially here, but we're going to ignore that for now. I then looked and went, okay, so I need 7 columns across, and how long do I want to go for? Okay, I have gone for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've gone for a 6-week grid. And the reason for doing that is because it covers the sticky point between Christmas and New Year, when employers may pay your money differently to you, or whoever you get your money from, be it welfare or the state or anything like that. We'll get to that bit further on, but I wanted to see what was going on there, because that's always a really difficult time to try and judge when your money's coming in, and therefore how long that money's got to go and last. So I did it for 6, you can do it for 5, you can do it for 4, you can do it for 2 or 3 weeks if you're in America and you get paid bi-monthly or bi-weekly, I think it is. So the first thing, and this is a pencil and pen, ruler and pencil grid, and everything written on in pen. So just everything that I've got at home. I like nice and big, so I did A3 paper. Again, you use A4. If your kid's doing an art class and you haven't got any A3 paper, take a page from their A3 sketchbook at the back. It's fine. What I've done is I've plotted when I know the income is coming in. So I'm anticipating a £2,000 income, and I then went through and went, right, okay, what have I got to do? So I need to do a food shop, I need to fill up my car, I need to order the cat's food, and I've got to pay some of my funeral costs because funeral's coming up for Grandad. I've got a standing order for a debt payment going out, and I've got a standing order for my rent going out. Okay, what am I then going to do? Because it's that weekend, and this is the first weekend in December. It's potentially not going to be as busy. I have still got a little bit of Christmas stuff to do. Okay, and I also need to get a couple of things for the funeral still, because a December funeral, standing outside, I don't have a black coat, and that is a personal choice. But I'd budgeted to go and buy a black coat this month, and then I will get something that I can use. Okay, so I'm going to go into X town, and I'm going to spend a maximum of this on a coat, and I'm going to under the category of spending, get any last minute Christmas bits that I've not planned for, and I'm going to buy a thing for myself that I've seen. Okay, so I'm going to do that, so I know I need to pay for parking in town, things like that. Fantastic. Then I know I'm not going anywhere on Monday because I'm working online from home and for my own learning sessions. Fantastic. So I don't need to drive, because then when I get to the funeral, Grandad is being buried 2.5 hours away. So, and I am a driver. So that's 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back. I think that's X amount. So what I'm also going to do is top up the petrol while I'm there. And I've also got some more direct debits going out. So I've got some on the £45 internet. I've got my pet insurance, and I've got my Google Drive storage. Fantastic. Working Wednesday, Thursday, and then again on the 8th I've got some more things going out. So I've got the cat meds that I'll need to order at that point. I've got the first of my council tax arrears payment going out, which is £50. I've got my car tax, I've got my petrol, and I've got whatever I haven't spent by Christmas I want to be done by the 8th, which I feel is quite reasonable. And what I've essentially done is I've isolated and gone through, okay, right, the bulk of my money, the bulk of my cash flow is being used up from the 1st to the 11th, because then I also have, why have I done internet twice? I don't know why I've done internet twice. What is that, £48? Ignore me. And then what I've also got, okay, is I've got some more debt minimums due to come out. I've got my AA coming out, and I've got my mobile. So I can then look and go, right, okay, first part of December, first 11 days, 10 days, I need to be really mindful of the fact that whatever I'm doing, I can't over leverage myself. And here's what I mean by over leveraging. I can't go and do, and this depends how you are with cash flow, to be fair. So I'm someone that gets really antsy if I have zero money. to hand at all. And at the minute, I don't have an emergency fund because hi cat and his heart problems, and I've had to go through a 5-week month into a 6-week month. So anything I could have pulled has gone. It's then looking and going, right, okay, if I'm going to do any spending on myself, it might just be worth keeping that cash flow back until after this point. It might just be worth making sure that like all of my core bills have gone out, and it's okay before I then maybe commit to buying the cat tree, which is something I said I was going to do because he survived, and I'm a woman of my word, like we've said. I need to be conscious of the fact that I'm driving X amount here, so I'm going to need to put extra petrol in. And am I going to buy, if you're hosting Christmas, am I going to buy the fresh bits 2 days before Christmas on that Christmas weekend? Or am I going to make sure I do all of the cupboard and the food bits here? So it's really good to just grid out and go, okay, right, so for this day, all I need to worry about in terms of money is my own potential discretionary spending, but realistically I'm at work and I'm busy. If we then move into the third week of kind of December, we can see that, right, okay, yep, topping up petrol on a Friday, ready for the week ahead, takes that element of stress out. And then also we're moving into kind of my last working week. So we break up as a school on the 20th, which means that I've got from today 1 to 2.5 weeks. Brilliant. Okay, so I know that I am going to be using most of my petrol because it's 50 quid a week, near enough, without the funeral in this time. Okay, and then know what I've got left between Christmas and New Year. I know what bills I've got coming out, and we're trickling down at this point to like my Spotify and my YouTube and anything like that. I know whether I'm working online or not, or whether I'm working from a school. It's all things like that you need to be aware of. And then also I can look and go, am I going to chronically avoid a town centre on the run up to Christmas? Absolutely, yes. Brilliant. So I don't need to worry about doing social things in this time. I can just bed in my house and like, you know, hibernate and get work done. And what I've also made a note of here is £50 teaching. And this is obviously the 27th of December here. You can see I've plotted in Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Boxing Day's the day after Christmas we have in the UK. It's a bank holiday. It's a like wonderful day for just eating leftover Christmas food and playing Christmas games and seeing extended family that you didn't want to spend the day with. But you're kind of pseudo seeing them. It's wonderful. The whole world should adopt Boxing Day. But there we go. That's just my take. £50 teaching, and that is because I do know, and it's something I was putting off in November because 5-week month. I do know I'm at the point again where I have got a couple more books that I need to pick up, and I've got a couple of some more supplies that are pretty essential that I've been like borrowing for a time, which I won't be able to borrow for much longer from someone else who needs them, that I'm going to need to get them. So what I've said is by the 27th is I want the total spend for my Christmas teaching, which is £50 budgeted, to have been done and dusted. Okay, now we move into a really interesting point. Now, anyone who is in receipt of universal credit, working tax credits, child tax credits, etc., if your normal payment is due on either a weekend, Christmas Day or Boxing Day, you will get paid early. You'll get paid the earliest working day beforehand. So that may be Friday the 22nd, it may be even earlier. And the same applies for New Year's as well. If you are normally due to get paid on Christmas, on the 31st, the 1st or the 2nd, whatever it is, you're going to get paid earlier. Some employers choose to pay you the last Friday before Christmas and they pay you early. Some places, if you're in receipt of multiple different forms of income, may continue to pay as normal between Christmas and New Year, what I call Betwixtmas. Some may not. Now, I'm in the really interesting situation where I normally get paid on the 2nd, like 1st or the 2nd, that's roughly what I'm anticipating. And because the 2nd has fallen on a Saturday in December, they have elected to pay us 4 days late. Okay, well, finance office isn't open between Christmas and New Year. I don't think, therefore, I am going to get paid my anticipated £2,000 bursaried monthly normal income until possibly the 4th or the 5th. That now is what I'm planning for. Like I said, I did this working document prior to finding all of this out. But what I do have is my next instalment of my student loan payment, which is £3,681 in. What I have done is, if it needs be, because this money was, to be fair, due to come in within a couple of days of each other when I originally plotted, it may be that I will need to take a small amount of this, cover the bills as they go out, get myself back up and running for January in terms of like food shops and cat food and things like that, and then when the £2,000 bursary payment come in, then proceed with whatever my savings or debt payoff, debt management plans are. So there'll be a little bit of shuffling around down here, but this is why I wanted to then look and see, right, okay, if that is the case, when are my bills going to be coming out and when is my income coming in? And it looks like I may only be dealing with kind of 4 or 5 days worth of disruption that will not impact on bills going out. Because realistically, any bills that were due to go out on the 1st because it's a bank holiday, they will roll over to either the 2nd or the 3rd anyway, so I don't need to change any payment dates. I don't need to worry about late fees bouncing. I mean, we have a very, very short term. I am back in on teacher training on the 3rd, so I have 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. It's a very, very short Christmas break this time, and a very, very long term. But as a visual aid for me to go through and see, actually, I don't like, there are certain days where I don't need to think about money apart from anything I just want to spend that's my own money. I have plotted in when I'm going to do this. Okay, I've not gone to the extent of going, okay, right, I'm going to food shop here and I'm going to food shop there, because I'm going to look and really kind of assess that and see, what am I getting? What can I cook? Do I have time for cook? Is it a case of it's going to be a really pressured like 2 weeks, so I just need things that are like quick and immediate? Do I have time to batch cook? Probably realistically no. So whilst I've not gone in and gone, I'm going to food shop here and food shop there, I know that I'm going to be ordering a month's worth of cat food when I get it, so I don't then need to worry about that. I know that any costs I have for the funeral will be done by the 5th, and I know that in terms of like my personal spending, I will take that down anyway as we run up to Christmas. Are there a couple of things that I have on a wish list that I've not asked anyone to buy me as a gift because I was planning to buy it in December? Yes. Will I go and buy that in December? Hell yes, because I've had a 6-week month and just November has been horrendous, and yes, I'm buying my stuff. Like, okay, it happens. But as a first step towards plotting and regenerating what a budget is going to be, looking at your cash flow and what your money is doing, where and when, is a really good way, I think, of actually just being able to visualize the problem and go, right, okay, these are my crunch areas. Whatever happens, I need to make sure that all of my money is in this place at this time to do this thing. And that's going to be completely different for everyone. In hindsight, yes, am I absolutely furiously enraged and like, rain hellfire down on decision makers at high levels for thinking it's okay to put trainees on a 6-week budget and make them wait another week. Yes, but what I can sit there and do is that, like, this would not have been ready because of how busy I've been in terms of a finalised, finished, presented budget that I'm 100% happy with and I'm really confident on. This wouldn't have been ready by this Friday. So at the very least, I've been given another couple of days to go through and work on it and refine it. And that is because deadlines and busyness and, yes, everything kind of coming up on you very, very quickly. So, is it very, very frustrating, the fact that, there's another week that I have to wait to get the money into my account? Yes, but I'm really lucky in that I do have a support network who will step in times like this, and they know that unless I ask them to, they won't. They're very good at not offering, because it would be really easy to, when someone offers, to be like, oh, I'll just do this and you lend me the money back. It's really like, that's a situation I don't really want to be in, particularly if you've got a funny situation, particularly if your debt kind of ratio is not great. But actually, this is a very, very short-term lend to cover the essential core bills in terms of like petrol, funeral, things like that. Mum's turned around and said, if you find a coat, fantastic. If you don't, it's not a problem. Like, it's okay. Like, we'll give you a scarf. It's fine. That is what's going on. There'll be another video coming out tomorrow. I'm not quite sure which one it'll be because I need to work out which one I'm going to upload next. But I wanted to just go through this with you and, introduce you guys to Budgetmas, which is a video every day, maybe not Christmas Day, in December. But, quick sneak peek of Mr. Bowie as well for you, and just what I hope is a very useful starting point for any of us that need to rework our budgets or completely change our budgeting style in a way where actually you don't fight it, particularly if it's not something that would have been your first choice to do. Actually, let's not fight this, let's just kind of work our way through this maze. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to love you and leave you now, and I will see you next time. Bye bye for now.